Songs that are misinterpreted by those they critique. A deep dive into irony in music. But It's Better If You Do by Panic. At the Disco is about not liking strip clubs, but was consistently played in strip clubs when it came out. Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar is about the dangers of drinking and peer pressure, but the radio edit was played a ton at parties. When you hear drank repeatedly, the other lyrics don't matter. I also read that Alessia Cara's Here was played at parties, and it is pretty explicitly anti-party. My mom loves Take Me to Church by Hosier. She does not get it at all. This is such a good one. I could see so many old church ladies being confused by this one. Had an old, very religious boss that was always singing it. We tried to explain it once and just gave up. Apparently, Hosier also wishes people would stop proposing to cherry wine. I didn't realize there was such an epidemic of people proposing to the obvious domestic violence song. What the fuck? Apparently, someone in the front row of a concert once did this while he performed Cherry Wine, and Hosier called it out. This reminds me of a story a DJ friend of mine told me about. He was DJing a wedding and the bride and groom requested Pumped Up Kicks as their entrance song for the reception. Yikes. That's like the Rains of Castamere for the real world. As a guest, I'd be terrified. We basically already do that. The popular wedding march used for brides' entrances was composed as part of an opera in which a wedding party is massacred. Oops, Mendelssohn's is the march, Wagner's isn't. Ah yes, nothing says wedded bliss and romance like you'd better run, outrun my gun. Right? It was a bit baffling, and it's not like that song's lyrics are garbled, hard to understand, or muffled under the music. A lot of people just don't care about or completely ignore lyrics and just hear the vibe of a song. The chorus is upbeat and catchy, and that's all they hear. The song is pretty on the nose with it, and it's pretty controversial and well-known, so it really seems like they knew the implications, but just didn't care. In the words of Outkast, hey ya, y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. Yeah, my partner showed me a video of that happening. That's like the one song where Hosier actually enunciates his lyrics in a halfway intelligible fashion and everyone fucked it up. People are often moronic about songs. Every Breath You Take by Sting is about a creepy stalker dude, and yet people dance to this at weddings. That's the point of the song, very subtle satire of how love songs are often pretty creepy if you actually look at the lyrics. You're supposed to miss it on a casual listen. Also, don't underestimate that sometimes what's creepy to one person can be perceived as peak romantic by someone else. Shit, I've never seen the music video, but I wouldn't exactly propose to the lyrics, open hand or closed fist, especially when he has a whole discography of songs about fucking and dying in the woods together. Born in the USA by Springsteen, blasting loudly at jingoistic, blind political rallies. I vaguely remember President Reagan cluelessly saying it was the kind of patriotic song we needed more of. I've seen a few people misinterpret Too Sweet by him too. Yeah, he's giving her compliments, but it's not a romantic song. It's basically an it's not you, it's me type speech. God, I love that song. It's the one I listen to when I know I want to feel like a piece of garbage. And I don't mean that as an insult. Sometimes you can just feel your worst personality traits bubbling to the surface and accept them. Take a step back to let them work their way out of your system before you face society again. Wanna Be Your Slave is another similar one for me. I laughed so hard when I saw a video of a church singing that. Reminds me of when Cartman started a Christian rock band and sang, I want to feel your love come all over my face, Jesus. Yeah, that's not a song about religion. Along the same line, Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen isn't about religion either. I love the song, but it is possibly one of the most depressing songs ever. I have seen it used at weddings, etc. Have heard the lyrics? Maybe there's a God above, but all I ever learned from love was how to shoot at someone who outdrew you. It's no complaint you hear tonight. It's not some pilgrim who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a lonely. Hallelujah. What baffles me is that over the last few years, I've been hearing it played as Christmas music. First time I came across it in that context, I almost died laughing. My husband's boss had a Christmas party at his house one year, and his neighbor, who professionally sang, was the entertainment. When she started singing Hallelujah, I remember whispering to my husband if she was going to cut out the sexy parts or keep them. Well, she sang some alternate Christian lyrics instead of the sexy parts. Boring. I used to work with a woman years ago who was a devout Jehovah's Witness. Came in one morning before opening, and she was blasting this song on her speaker and singing along with hands raised and everything. She was a nice lady, and I didn't want to burst her bubble, and I like Hosier, so I just got to work and sang along. Chuckled at the irony, though. I worked with a very religious South African woman who told me that Nickelback was her favorite artist, and every song directly related to her life. My mind went to animals and rock stars, and I just blinked and said, "That's great, Linda." Jesus, He Knows Me by Genesis, a song about TV evangelism and the money they take, adopted as an anthem by various churches. I remember the video. They really made sure not to leave any doubt it was about that. But she doesn't know about my girlfriend or the man I met last night. Doesn't leave too much doubt either. There was an Australian rock band in the 80s called the Choir Boys, and their big breakout hit was Run to Paradise. The amount of sports broadcasts, teams, shows, etc. that have used that as their music track over the years. Because, it sounds like it's about running to victory or something. It's about heroin addiction. There She Goes by the Laws is also about heroin addiction, about infatuation, according to the band, but it was used in a TV ad about women's sanitary products back in the 90s. The line from the chorus, there she goes again," was emphasized in the ad to convey the message that women can still be active on their period with the help of these menstrual products. But yeah, the song is about heroin coursing through veins. The song has been interpreted as being about heroin addiction because of the lyrics, but the band denies this. White wedding at weddings. Did you listen to the song? This played at my cousin's Saturday wedding as he and the bride walked down the aisle. They split on Monday, lol. Hey ya by Outcast. Why oh are we so in denial? When you know we're not happy here. Y'all don't want to hear me. You just want to dance. I mean, it opens with the singer openly wondering if his girlfriend is only loyal because she's afraid of him walking out, follows through with complaining about how modern relationships don't work, and ends with pointing out that the relationship is unhappy and they should admit it. There's absolutely no subtlety except the happy melody. But 3 stacks say shake it like a Polaroid picture. Shake it, shake it, shake it. So am I supposed to not shake it and dance to the vibes? No shit, Andre. How about you don't make your breakup song the catchiest song in the fucking universe? I mean, yeah, I get it, but that song is so good the lyrics could be a detailed plan for my own murder, and I would still put it on repeat. Exactly. That's why he literally calls out the listeners with, "Y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance." It's a very tongue-in-cheek song. Oh, I scrolled obsessively to get to this comment. If nothing is forever, then what makes love the exception? This was my first thought. The number of politicians who use it at their rallies baffles me. And he's clashed with many of them over the years when they do it. I believe he even told one, Reagan if I remember correctly, that he recommends they listen to the lyrics first. Aaron Lewis, Stain singer, recently went on this whole rant about how Bruce tricked people into thinking it was a pro-American anthem. It's so fucking funny that a singer, who I assume writes his own lyrics, never bothered to listen to the words in the song. He didn't trick you, Aaron. You're just a fucking moron. Is the purpose not to sing the main line over and over again in your stolen box truck with anti-Canadian graffiti on your multi-day drive from Niagara Falls to Toronto? But make sure the graffiti is in both English and French, or you might get fined. Back in the 90s, Michael Moore made a comedy movie, his best IMHO, called Canadian Bacon. It was Moore's only fictional film, and it was John Candy's last movie. The plot revolves around an American president who, desperate to drum his numbers up in the polls, starts a new Cold War with Canada. This is the point where I'd stare into the camera, Parks and Rec style. One of the best scenes involves John Candy and Rhea Perlman stealing a truck to invade Canada. While they're up there, they start singing Born in the USA to get themselves pumped up. But they can't remember any of the words, so they just sing Born in the USA over and over and over again. Holy shit, I did not know that Michael Moore made Canadian Bacon. I fucking loved that movie as a kid. Anytime it was on HBO, I would watch it. The American propaganda about the dangerous Canadians was gold. Maple syrup slowly dripping down from the northern border. My old English teacher was a Vietnam vet. Ad made sure we knew what protest songs meant. This and Fortunate Son were his favorites. Hiring man said, "Son, if it was up to me, went down to see my VA." Manny said, "Son, don't you understand now?" Yeah, I consider that to be the music equivalent of commenting on the clickbaity title of a Reddit thread without reading the linked article. My dad had "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston for the bride and groom's dance at his wedding, completely unaware that it's a breakup song, similar to George Michael's Careless Whisper and Chris Isaak's Wicked Game. People always think they're both really romantic love songs. Actually listen to the lyrics and you'll realize that that could not be further from the truth. One is about feeling guilt and shame for doing wrong to somebody, and the other is about hating somebody who did wrong to you, but still struggling with your feelings for them. Fun old man fact: this song was actually written by Dolly Parton for Porter Wagner when she left his show. Definitely a questionable choice for a first dance at a wedding. Not an old man, but more fun facts. Porter had been fighting her on leaving the show for a solo career, so she wrote the song to convince him, and it worked. His only condition was that he get to produce the song. A lot of stuff happened over many years, including a lawsuit that was settled. Then he ended up in financial trouble, so she bought his business and gifted it back to him. She is a gem. Everyone should listen to the podcast Dolly Parton's America. I can't believe Rage Against the Machine has gotten so political. What machine, pray tell, do you think they are raging against, sir? It was a toaster. Tom Morello burnt his toast one day and that was it. Legends were born. I'll never forget Paul Ryan saying they are his favorite band. It was the first moment I was struck by a public figure's media illiteracy. Now it's a weekly thing. I went to see Prophets of Rage in 2015 when Tom Morello tried to get the band back together, to protest the RNC. I bought a red Make America Rage Again hat while I was there, and one guy was almost immediately like a moth to a flame. Started going off about Trump or whatever, I don't remember exactly. But I just stood there for a second wondering, do you know where you are? I had to walk in a circle while waiting for my friend just to get this guy away from me. I tried to wear that hat only one other time in public before I realized how bad things had gotten. I have a red 7-Eleven hat that I can't wear in public as an older white dude. The struggle of Phillies fans the last decade has been largely unreported in mainstream media. I saw Luca by Suzanne Vega on a love song compilation. The song is about child abuse. Edit, it was a release CD. I found it, /discogs.com/release, 598-964, various Kutik Love AAM KF44 KGYXGVF On reflection, there are multiple terrible choices there. Seriously, but that was the one that stuck in my mind. They only hit until you cry. After that, you don't ask why. Somebody thought this was a love song? I laughed my ass off when a wedding reception opened with Adele's Rolling in the Deep. I once heard a story of Good Luck Babe by Chappell Roan being played at a heterosexual wedding dance party. The song is about a lesbian in denial marrying a straight man and how it will haunt her for the rest of her life. Maybe check on the bride and see how she's doing these days. There was a trend of Republicans using her song The Giver in TikTok specifically for the lyrics, "Ain't no country for a quitter, we get the job done." And TikTok was about redneck blue-collar workers and how strong and patriotic they are, which is most definitely what Chappell Roan was singing about. Particularly amazing since the lyric is "Ain't no country boy quitter, Olmeo." My cousin posted on Facebook that Lips of a Angel was their song about her and her boyfriend. I asked her if she'd read the lyrics and sent a link to them. She blocked me soon after. Love Song by Sarah Bareilles. She wrote it as a final fuck you to the label that kept turning her songs back because every song she gave them wasn't radio friendly. It's not about getting some guy to love her as she is. It's, fuck you, I'll write music for me, not just whatever way you want. Sarah Bareilles is legit. Girl has astounding talent. Her riffs on her songs at her live shows can get fish-level experimental, and she has done so much high-quality work. It's a shame so many people only know her from grocery stores and ad music. She's my favorite artist. And if it wasn't for her music being in a cup top B back in 2008, I might never have discovered her. I loved her voice and immediately got up from in front of the TV, sat down at my computer, downloaded Little Voice illegally, listened to the whole thing twice, and then ordered the CD. I even got to meet her once, looking forward to her next concert in September. I love this, especially after hearing the songs she wrote for her show, Girls 5 Eva. I'm afraid is Pee Your Pants funny. There was one line when they were in the studio where she told her producer, "I'm not going to write you a love song because you asked for it." And I laughed out loud. BPE and New York Lonely Boy still get stuck in my head randomly. Her label basically gave her one last chance to write a radio hit, and so she did. The lyrics are intentionally ambiguous. It doesn't mock them, but I always cringe when Lips of an Angel is played as a newlywed's first dance. I've been to the wedding where this was exactly the case. They were both very proud of it. Billy Idol's White Wedding, at any point during a wedding. The song is blatantly anti-marriage. It would be hilarious to make a compilation of anti-wedding songs, play it at your own wedding, and see how many people catch up, lol. This is basically my fiance's dream, lol. He wants our first to dance to be To Better Man by Pearl Jam and keeps asking if I can cry on cue. Yikes, those lyrics aren't even subtle. My girl's in the next room, sometimes I wish she was you. You make it hard to be faithful, come on. This was used recently in some commercial for some vague Christian group. So they paid to use this song to get their message across. Fully agree. On a much more surface level misunderstanding, I sometimes sing this as Jerome, Percival, Jesus to my wife, and man, she does not like it anymore. I always thought it was a song for the military, like for the actual boys in the service. They were drafted, they weren't fortunate. I ain't no fortunate son. I thought it was supposed to be sung by the enlisted. I never thought of it as pro-military, like super rich people playing it at political campaigns or pro-nationalism events made no sense. But it was for the boys to play in helicopters hundreds of miles from home, eating rations for weeks in a war they didn't start. So when I see it in films and war scenes, it seems appropriate. But when I hear it at a senator's campaign, that seems out of touch, lol.